right.
Mr. Bederow.
Thank you, Judge.
Honestly, go fuck yourself, sir. You don't say that, okay? You don't lose a trial where a jury acquits someone and finds them overwhelmingly not guilty and say, I gave my sincere obligation to look into this, and I'm telling you all I saw when she's guilty. Again, respectfully, go fuck yourself.
Is that a fair characterization of what you said?
Your Honor, I want to hear objection before I hear a word out of your mouth.
Objection.
Overruled. Sit down. Oh, I said overruled. Sit down.
Swear again like that. That was, no, I mean, whatever. That was, I shouldn't have done that.
A few moments later.
You, as a prosecutor, have got to be out of your fucking mind.
Nose.
Dude, Jimmy, look at those ears.
The ears don't bother me as much.
No, I don't trust a man. I don't trust a man with a lobe like that. No,
really,
not a fucking chance.
The mouth is butthole to me.
Very thin, paper thin.
The nose.
Oh, the nose.
The brows.
Well, listen, I will tell you though, I kind of like a fucked up nose on a guy.
I like a big old honker. I like a big nose.
Old nose. Give me that big bitch. You know,
yeah,
like, I'm into it.
Come over here, cluck cluck.
Yeah.
I see some chickens that went moving on up in my biz, cluck cluck. You gotta be with the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, kids.
And I go, oop, clutch, clench, kegel. We did it all. And I go, oh, and what happened? And they go, well, we just got 4,000 plus pages, bitch. And I said, stop it. Show me it. Take me to Unimpound Town immediately, if not sooner. So what happens?
The bitch is here.
Why are you at a football game? Are you a Fonz correspondent?
Well, no, because it's only for men over 30. Okay? Have a great night, boys. Fuck off.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
Hey, Blues Clues, motherfucker.
Hello, lovies. I'm sorry, okay? In order to not sound like a walking asshole upon entry to this stream, 50 minutes late, I would like to say I deeply apologize. Time is an illusion, and so is this desktop. Do we give up? I don't know. Should I go at this point to the laptop, pretend the desktop isn't real because I'm lost? It's been too many years. Okay. It's going to be 2 years that I've been just judo chopping my life to try to get through here. And then it will be like, oh, Kim, you're skipping or you're slow or your Wi-Fi is disabled. I have a Wi-Fi on disability here. You know, scamming the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, my Wi-Fi. And I'm like, what the fuck? Then, in addition, I'm somewhere, and then it's like, do you want to reset all the tabs? Or I'm deleting and I'm clearing the caches, and I always thought it was a cache. Come to find out it's a cache. I clear that, and then I have to like log back in, and there is no passwords. The passwords have never lived here. Where did the passwords live? I don't know the passwords. That's what you're supposed to know. You're a computer. Like, just, that's where it is. And long story short, it was crazy. I also was knee deep in a Kate Peter, not knee deep in Kate Peter. Come on, don't be gross. Figuratively. Talking to Mike Crawford. Compelling. Couldn't put it down. Said, what the fuck is happening? Who am I? There has been another level unlocked in a free Karen Reed universe. We're on a different plane. We're on a different dimension, everyone. Giddy the frig up, because today was a bumpy ride. Okay, we're woofing. I hear you, and I raise you a woof woof. Wild. I know. I go, huh? And then I have questions and I go, I'm sorry, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Are you telling me, is this the moment? Is this the moment where he is like, I don't just hate Aiden and Kim and everyone else. I also like, that's kind of an, I don't know. Is it a bridge too far? I don't know. I think so. It feels that anyone like anyone over Kate Peter sometimes, it's like, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer. No, just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't get it. But she said, I have a quote that I will be saying at the end. Anyway, Mr. Bederow is in the United States of America, of course, because he's not transcontinental. He is an American man, an American boy. And he represented the Aiden Pop Guild today in front of Judge Belizos. And this back and forth, this exchange, and this mega motion hearing that I have been waiting to be orally argued since what feels like October of 2025, it was wild. Also, the areas in which piqued Judge Belizos' attention, we will discuss. I will have opinions. Do they mean anything? Absolutely not. This is for entertainment purposes. I'm a fucking idiot. But if there was a chance to get this dismissed, Mr. Bederow today, he left it all in the court. Will there be enough to reach the threshold of extraordinary governmental misconduct? I don't know, because it's Massachusetts. But everything that was able to be laid out was laid out, and beautifully. So I couldn't find this, how I ended up at Mike Crawford's house. This is an interesting path. No one else that doesn't talk during the stream, I couldn't find it anywhere else. It wasn't like on Court TV. So I watched it at Mike's, and then afterwards he was hanging out with Kate. And that's a lot to unpack. So let us unpack. We're unpackers. And then we'll talk Clancy just as it relates to initial day one jury selection. Pictures came out of the courtroom of Kevin Reddington, her attorney, and Lindsay. And I have some observations just based upon physical appearance that is a stark contrast and difference from what I saw the last few times Lindsay presented in court. And this is something that you would say from like alert oriented, presents disheveled and appropriate, eye contact, all the things, right? We're just going to do an assessment, not medically, just appearance wise. Okay. Next. Find your home. Oh, Miss Jess MB says, no wonder I've been so bitchy, Susie. Retrograde always hits me hard. Are we in the retrograde? Huh. I'm confused. Who's it? Melanie? Melanie is the first place to look for, but she speaks, babe, so I can't play her. So we're gonna just play this. And we're not gonna listen. Mike doesn't talk during it because he doesn't really have anything to say. Okay. I'm gonna play it. Start right here. And we're gonna be talking about Rule 13, De Los Santos, and if a matter was not raised, then it is considered waived. If it's not raised, it's considered waived. We have rhymes in the law, and we love it.
The issues with Ms. Peters may have been disclosed post that hearing, at least to some extent. Tell me why the other issues aren't waived under De Los Santos in Rule 13.
Was there another issue, Your Honor, you wanted me to focus on?
You know, that's to start. Then we'll get to the substance of it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Does Grant talk?
Judge, it is true that many of these issues existed in a grand jury transcript and motions that were ruled upon by Judge Doolin. That is correct. And Rule 13 does state what it states, but there is case law which also states that the court does have the power to reconsider or reevaluate issues which were not brought to the court's attention. Now, in this particular case, there's no question that issues that related to the wiretapping, the uncharged wiretapping, for example, could have been raised. As the issues related to some of the videos in this case, the name changes, the court should be aware that for whatever reason, that snuck by everybody, including Judge Doolin, including Mr. Cosgrove and some of his filings. And as soon as that was picked up, that is something that we put into writing and addressed right away.
Yes.
The reality is the grand jury in this case was not proper. I mean, I think, and I'll get to that in a minute after answering Your Honor's question about the waiver issue, but in terms of the form over substance.
Well, it's not really form over substance. It's substantive. Rule 13 is substantive. De Los Santos is substantive. And there's a reason for that. And the Commonwealth and their opposition has pointed it out. It's because you can't keep retilling the same ground over and over and over. At some point, you got to move forward. So it's not just form over substance. So you got to give me a little bit more than that.
Well, Haskell permits it, Judge. And
it does at the court's discretion,
right,
but you got to have a reason.
Absolutely, there is discretion of the court to ultimately decide what should be done and what shouldn't. But where the court sees prejudice, the court respectfully should act. Now, again, with the videos that were mislabeled, the Commonwealth shouldn't benefit from what is clearly deceptive conduct in terms of renaming items that, again, nobody saw. Judge Doolin himself referred to the names by their improper name during his ruling.
Which presumes that Judge Doolin was aware of those names and didn't find them to be of any substance because he watched the actual videos.
I don't know. Well, the actual videos that were presented to the grand jury, Your Honor, were 40-second snippets of hours-long video, which were not grand jury exhibits. So respectfully, there's no way that Judge Doolin could have watched those videos because Mr. Mello...
He watched the clips, no doubt.
Yes, but the clips are tiny segments of larger videos that, again, when we get to the real meat of what I want to discuss with the court, would show the full context on the critical issue in this case, which is only one.
Okay. When you hear Mr. Bederow say all of that, he says all of this to say this. Also, sidebar, amazing on the respect, the respect to the court, saying respectfully, Your Honor, obviously you have the discretion. Judge Doolin, who is Mr. Bederow, that's our guy. We love him. What a joy. Actually, that man is in a courtroom. Woo, Belizos, a little scarier. Yeah, but he is saying in that moment that, yes, Judge Doolin was aware of it. He was only aware of Aiden's 3+ hour streams, right? That were renamed like, Colin, I'm going to ruin your life. And it's a 40-second clip. That is completely mischaracterizing what the entire stream was about and the context of which that portion being all of a 40-second clip. Do you think that's the video? Is the video of Colin, I'm going to ruin your life, episode 171. And for 40 seconds, he says that versus Colin, I'm going to ruin your life. And Aiden saying, hey, it's going to be hard for you to get into college. Stop being a prick. And he says that for 40 seconds, but it's over 3 hours. Do you understand? That changes everything. That is presented inappropriately to the fact finders who are our jury. And I know because Beanbag Ron is my beanbag on the ground. And well, actually, he was a beanbag in a tree. And he was like, we were talking about it. And he is saying that Judge Belizos says that they're not the fact finders, that the jury is not the fact finders. They are, now I forget the other word, but it's very interesting to see the pushback, and where we see pushback in argument, that is where we will know Judge Belizos is not biting, where he is asking for more, where he's looking for more. Obviously, that's where you have meat and potatoes for his discretion. Other judges might have totally different takes, just saying.
And that's Mr. Carney's intent. That's the only issue that was really before the grand jury. And none of that was seen in Judge Doolin's opinion, because none of that was before.
Because it wasn't raised.
Well, it wasn't raised, but it wasn't known by anyone. Now, again, could it have been? Yes, but the court has the discretion.
But it was known, because Judge Doolin referred to it by the titles that you think are inflammatory.
Mandy.
Yes, those are the names that he was provided by the Commonwealth that were changed. Those were the improper names. Names that the Commonwealth knew in advance were not the proper names and were changed. And ultimately, Your Honor, as a matter of discretion, there's no prejudice to the Commonwealth here by having this. I suspect this argument, which is a fair argument to make, is their primary argument because they don't want to talk about what actually occurred in the grand jury. And the fact of the matter is, everybody sees it, everybody knows what it is, and it ought to be addressed. If there's no prejudice to the Commonwealth, the court should hear it. No indictment should be tolerated when it is rife with misleading evidence, distorted evidence, statements of prosecutors and police witnesses saying, in my opinion, it was this man's intent to commit witness intimidation. That's outrageous behavior in front of a grand jury. And when you get down to brass tacks in this case, that's all that this is about. They misled the grand jury on the only issue that matters, which is whether Mr. Carney's intent was to commit witness intimidation or not. The conduct at issue is open and shut. It's the videos, not the videos that were submitted into the grand jury. Those are tiny snippets. The conduct and the context of Mr. Carney's intent are contained in the actual videos. And what you have at this point, it's very similar to Odell itself. In essence, you have prosecutors cherry picking 30 seconds they like out of a 2-hour video and saying this proves his intent was to intimidate witnesses, but not letting the grand jury have access to the other 2 hours, which show him saying, I want to bring awareness to a miscarriage of justice involving Karen Reed. I'm petitioning the government to address that. I believe that these police officers are corrupt. We're doing this to bring justice for these people. The grand jury had a right to that. And the best example of this, Your Honor, to get a full picture of what you're dealing with is all of the picketing counts in this case are from this so-called rolling rally. That entire video, the whole rally was recorded, video recorded by Mr. Carney, literally the crime, if you will. They didn't introduce that video, but what they did do was admit 58 seconds of the rolling rally, which the honest name of that video on YouTube was Canton, the rolling rally Justice for Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. They took 58 seconds of that video. They introduced it as the title of that video is Don't Feel Sorry for the O'Keefes. That's not evidence. But if you look at the grand jury testimony and the transcript, the way Mello and Tully did this is Tully said, the name of the video is Don't Feel Sorry for the O'Keefes. It's contained in a folder literally titled Intent. Literally. And he did that approximately 30 times.
Literally? I think that we needed to make sure, because sometimes our lawyers can talk in hyperbole. Not right now. Literally. Intent. Wild. Babes, if you really think about that, if you think about how weaponized this fucking Commonwealth statute on witness intimidation has been against Aiden, I mean, fuck your feelings. And you have to get right with this was such an overreach of power. And it was 100% to silence Aiden. Period. He recorded his crime. He put it on the interwebs. He said, hey, join my fight for justice. Because we are peacefully rallying. And then from all of that, I don't know, I should know, but I don't. Somebody is smart. Somebody is very smart in this chat. How long was the rolling rally? Because we know Aiden records everything. No shade. This is posted online. And was it 2 hours? Was it 3? I don't know how many. I don't know what it was, but 58 seconds, you sons of bitch bastards. You did that on purpose. You did that in order to weaponize it against him. And when you do that, you taint the grand jury. And when the grand jury is tainted, you must clench your taint. And dismiss, I say.
Times throughout this proceeding, told the grand jury, this is proof of his intent. They literally asked questions and answers that talked about intent. They played 30 to 50 seconds of this video where he literally says, don't feel bad for the O'Keefe, but yet don't present the video of the crime. Why? What prosecutor?
But their allegation is that is the crime.
Your Honor, again, it goes to Odell. Literally, they can believe anything they want. They can allege any.
Quick question. Just saying, don't mean to be dramatic here, but like, if you had video of Karen Reed unaliving Officer John O'Keefe on video, and you just presented 58 seconds, and you had her going where they said down the bottom of the hill or like to the edge of the property, then she miraculously, okay, Mario Andretti's wife just backs up perfectly straight line, was able to clip somebody right on the elbow, okay, have a spontaneously combusting rear tail light, shards just darting out as if they are weapons of their own, okay, embedding themselves allegedly into clothing, fuck off, and then pirouettes 12 feet away. He is fallen and he becomes unalived there with a 2.5-inch laceration to the back of his skull with no rock, no tree stump, no nothing. Would you not present that evidence? Would the Mass State Police have not presented the entirety of that evidence? Yes, they would have. The crime you said Aiden committed, you have the entire crime and you didn't present it. Get the fuck out of here, you corrupt.
Thing they want.
But they're not alleging that the rest of the rally was intimidation. They were alleging those clips are intimidation.
No. Right, but Your Honor, when they present it to the grand jury, it's tantamount to what happened in Odell with the police report, where we decide we like sentence 1 because we think it proves his intent, but we don't like sentences 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're just going to keep that from the grand jury. In Odell, that was deemed to have impaired the integrity of.
But a police report and a video are very different things. We often encounter situations at the grand jury where they have hours and hours of videotape, but they only play certain clips.
But they didn't tell the grand jury it's available for you.
To go look and go look at it.
They told the grand jury the name of the video is, jury influence is another one, which was actually titled Protesting Michael Morrissey. Big difference. A video that was 5 days after DA Morrissey made a statement to the press, which was improper. He gives a 2-hour video and says, I'm trying to bring awareness, trying to do this and do that. And this is in August of 2023, well before trial, and says, absolutely, I want to influence the public and the jury pool. And they take that little snippet. They may have a theory that enables them to say, we believe that's proof of his intent. That's fine. What's not permissible, though, is to rig it in the following way, to say, literally, Your Honor, I can read to you, there's a literal question and answer, which is very important. For example, on December 19th, question from Mello to Tully, before he plays all of these videos, which are misnamed, cherry-picked, do you have any knowledge of incidents which you feel are intimidating of a witness with respect to any?
Just an FYI. Thank you so much, Darlie and Lynn the Gardener, 2518. And that is dyslexic as well. But listen to me. Of course I'm going to do this. Duh. I don't know. I don't know why anyone would think I wouldn't, because I've always been consistent. I've always been team free turtle boy. I've always been, would never change. It's not happening. Aiden does not deserve to be in jail for a crime he did not commit, period. Full chest, 10 toes down, always. This was weaponized. Period. Point blank. 48 other states, you know that. 48 other states have protections for journalism, for journalists. And because there was quite literally feelings hurt and alleged monetary impact for mediocre chicken parm, there has been a lot that will never go back to normal or what was a so-called normal before this. You will never do this to anybody else. And we will keep talking about it because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter if you like Aiden, if you don't like Aiden, if you think he is the best thing, or if you think that he is, you know, he's rough around the edges and a shady person at times. Great. Let them fucking do this to you. Let them do this to somebody else. And you'll see when it's your turn that you wish you did stand up and that you stood for something. I'll never turn on that. I'll never, ever say that Aiden doesn't deserve to beat this. And I pray that it will 100% be dismissed so that he doesn't have to go through the bullshit of a trial.
Particular witness. I do. Question. Those are on video. Answer. They are. Play those for the grand jury. So now we've just told the grand jury, I think his intent was to intimidate witnesses. Then what Tully does again and again through direct intentional questioning of Mello, it's not volunteered, is to say that these videos are named inaccurately, and they're in the memo. You've seen them, page 62 and 63 of the motion, all the times that they did this. They play the snippet, and then when it's over, they tell, or before they do it, they tell the grand jury, these are from a folder marked intent. He didn't do that.
Yeah, but slow down, Ms. Bederow. You have to give the grand jury some credit. The grand jury understands that a defendant is not going to create a folder which says intent. They had to know the prosecution created it.
That's my point.
Right, but give the grand jury some credit. They understand that.
Your Honor, the point is, respectfully, when a police officer tells the grand jury.
I love it. I love creeping in those respectfullys to be respectful. But meanwhile, he wants to say, like, Judge, listen up.
In my opinion, this man's intent was this. I have a folder with proof of his intent. It came from that folder. I'm going to tell you a false name of the video that I renamed, or some third party working with him renamed, whichever the case may be. And then you don't tell the grand jury that this was renamed by us, put in this folder by us. I'm playing you 30 seconds, but I'm not going to give you the rest of the video. And I would refer the court, this case is cited in the memo of law that went with the motion, Bleakney, the appeals court case, not the SJC, the lower appeals court, where they cherry picked a portion of a statement of a defendant, left the full flash drive in front of the grand jury, but never alerted them to the contents of it. And in that case, the appeals court found it impaired the integrity by hiding the ball. Here,
if you're going to go there, Mr. Bederow, if you're going to go there, then you got to talk to me about Shaquille Brown, which is the SJC, in which the prosecutor dumped in at least 100 pages of prison records, in which the prosecutor dropped in telephone logs, all of which had never been looked at or never been read. And the SJC said, well, it wasn't so good, but that's okay because it didn't change the analysis of the evidence.
But it would change the analysis of the evidence, because here's the thing. Facts matter, journalism, trademark nurse Kim and Dave. Here is where the rubber meets the road, babes, is that if you had seen that, if the grand jury had seen it, it would change the outcome, because you would have seen it in its entirety, all of it. And to me, the rolling rally in its entirety is exculpatory.
Which takes us back, and this is the
yes, sir.
Slow down. This is the difficulty that you have. So this is why De Los Santos does matter, and it is substantive. Okay, this is why Rule 13 is substantive, because you already had a very thoughtful, all right, a bulwark, if you will, from a judge, all right, a very thoughtful judge who examined in detail the entirety of the grand jury, found it to be free from prejudice, and more importantly, found that the evidence was substantial enough to issue an indictment. So that brings us back to the court's analysis in Shaquille Brown, which I'll give you the side if you like.
I have
490, 171, and I'm very familiar with that case. All right. In that case, the court finds clearly they shouldn't have done any of those things, but finds it didn't impair the integrity of the grand jury, and this is why De Los Santos is substantive, because Judge Doolin's already made that determination. So you got to get around that.
I'm happy to, Your Honor. The difference with Shaquille Brown and Judge Doolin's decision and why it matters here is context is everything in terms of his intent. Oh, he is
but in Brown, they're trying to show joint venture, and they dump in prison records they haven't even read.
Judge, I'm bringing it to this case, okay?
Yeah, but this is the SJC telling me this.
I understand that, but the facts here matter, and the context matters. And just because the prosecution has, a one-sentence explanation of what they say, and a grand jury ultimately determines determine was proof of intent after they were told what his intent was by the prosecutor, by all the reasons that we spoke about earlier. Context is everything.
Yes.
If there is a long statement that is talking about protesting and bringing awareness and making jokes and all kinds of things, and there's a comment in there that I like that comment, just give the grand jury the whole thing. The role of the grand jury is fact finder. The problem in this case is that Mello and Tully decided to be prosecutor, detective.
Well, and you can't cherry pick. You know that. We know that. Guys, we're not like legal analysts, but we are legal nurse consultants. And also, we know that there are rules that you have to follow. And in order to be safe, you most likely, the Commonwealth prosecution are supposed to overshare with the defense. I don't even know. I don't care. I don't see any exculpatory, like nature here. But if you are going to indict, you better have all your friggin' eggs in a basket or ducks in a row in Canton.
The grand jury is not a fact finder. The grand jury is more of a gatekeeper. But go on.
But they have to judge respectfully. They're not. They have to find the facts to support an indictment. And in this case, they literally did. But they were misled. And context matters. A grand jury is entitled not to everything in the world. It's clearly not a trial jury. We all understand that. But when you do it, you have to do it fairly. And they put their finger on the scale with evidence of his intent in terms of what they told the grand jury, what file it was in, the length of the video, the full context of the video, the uncharged crimes. Judge, the last piece of evidence in this case that they put in the grand jury was an uncharged crime of, again, the rolling rally video, which they didn't see fit to give the grand jury, which makes no sense. If anyone's prosecuted these cases and put in cases in the grand jury, that makes no sense. That's the crime. Give it to them. But what they did was they tried to suggest that he was harassing and intimidating the O'Keefes, who were not even charged victims in this case. That's how they finished the grand jury. That is clearly a design to prejudice, to smear. They put in evidence of an uncharged wiretapping and read the statute that said this is punishable by 5 years and never gave a curative instruction, never withdrew that charge. De Los Santos or not, Your Honor, the question is, at what point do we not avert our eyes to what they did? They need to do it fairly.
But a judge has already looked at that.
But he didn't see that, Judge. If you look at Judge Dooling's decision, none of that is addressed because he, like everyone else, was misled. Moreover, Judge, I am focused on the grand jury. I'm going to answer the questions that obviously you're focused on. There was a second component to the motion for extreme government misconduct.
There it is.
And there's no reason why.
Well, I'll listen to you on the Peters stuff. I mean, I think if Peters wasn't known to you, I think that's fair to discuss.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, the whole point, but before I get to the merits of that motion would have been made anyway. So that, I mean, because we can't make a motion based on evidence of which we're unaware.
100%.
And at that point, if you're making a motion to dismiss for extreme government misconduct, there's no reason why the court should not consider as a facet of the misconduct that occurred in this case what occurred in the grand jury before. Now, as far as the Peter stuff, which I don't want to beat to death, and most of it is in the papers, the point is...
Are we just referring to Kate Peter as Peter? Peter, the Peter stuff, yeah. Don't make it weird.
All of that evidence should have been disclosed in early 2024, which was we're closing the deadline for discovery. That material didn't come anywhere near that timeline. It came in July of 2025 after numerous specific, very specific Brady demands and Discovery Rule 14 demands. They could not have been more specific.
No.
So let me understand.
Okay.
What is the basis that you're asking me to dismiss? Is it for the discovery violations or for the substantive violations?
Well, it's for everything. On the second component of the motion, the indictments ought to be dismissed based on the impairment of the integrity of the grand jury proceeding, full stop. As far as the second component, based upon the lack of discovery, that prejudiced us from filing a full-throated motion the first time, and the court should consider that in even hearing the grand jury component of it. But in any event, if the court is wondering why, if discovery was ordered to be completed in early 2024 and all these demands were made before, during, and after that time period, and stuff that is responsive is showing up in July of 2025, that we turn out.
Okay, my disabled Wi-Fi
was in the possession of every single prosecutor on these cases in December of 2024, which is before the motion was filed in front of Judge Doolin. What is going on?
I consider these to be two separate categories. That's why I started with the issue of Peters may be something which is outside the Rule 13 and the De Los Santos analysis. So I'll give you an open field to discuss that.
Okay. Excuse me, Judge. The evidence that exists or no longer exists from the third party that the court mentioned is extremely prejudicial to the defense. There is a strong argument that could be put forth if there were to be a trial in this case that this investigation was biased, it was shoddy, and that involves any number of things, one of which includes, from our perspective, which is a shockingly close relationship between a private civilian, Peter, who you mentioned, who has a hatred of Mr. Carney that is beyond adjectives that I could even provide this court with. Not only that, this is a witness who has falsified evidence against him. Literally, this is not in dispute. It's in the motion. Has forged court filings to try to screw him.
Oh, I'm sorry. First of all, Mr. Bederow, stop it. Did you just say try to screw him? 10 out of 10. Oh, please. Let me get just a little bit of a media widget because that's me. Let us hear. Ding the dong, gong the gong. Here it is.
In part of their fighting during their life, has attacked witnesses for the Commonwealth, Alberts, and tried to get him to say bad things about them when she, in fact, defamed them. And this person was basically holding Mr. Mello's hand. These are the messages that we got, amongst other things, telling him what to do. And when we got that affidavit from Tully, oh, well, I didn't open or click on any of these links. That's a problem.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Belazos a Diet Coke guy? Is he a DC guy? Oh, I trust him more. If that was a Diet Coke and not a Market Basket brand, I trust him. He might make a good decision. He might have to sleep on it, but he might come out on the right side. I trust a man that drinks Diet Coke.
For one reason, because they were in their possession, custody, and control, it ought to have been turned over. And what was contained, we don't know. But there has to be under Neal a reasonable basis to believe there might be something useful. And the reasonable basis you have is that the person who provided it to Tully that he claims he never opened has committed forgery, fraud, deception, and crimes against him. She's a dishonest person who is working hand in hand with the prosecutors in this case. Now, Tully says, I never opened it, and now the links are gone. And we were told in filings, it's been dismissed, it's been deleted by a third party, which presumably is Peter. And what are we supposed to do in now finding the evidence to support that defense? Just assume it's nothing helpful? Why would we assume that when this woman is bent on destroying him?
Isn't the shoddy work that he never opened them?
What's that?
Isn't the shoddy work that he never opened them?
That's amongst other things. But I said to you, Tully said that. That's not what Mello did. The emails that we got too late in the process literally show Mello and Peter talking, and he's asking her help. How do I open this? And Mello says, gee, thanks. He literally opened it. Opened what? Where is it? Tully says, I never opened it. It's deleted. Mello, very noticeably, never submitted in all the time the prosecution had to respond to the motion. And if the court remembers, they got many graces in deadline extensions to file, never submitted a sworn statement explaining any of this. What we got instead was a hearsay statement where Mr. Cosgrove, and I say this with due respect to Mr. Cosgrove, was essentially cosplaying as Mello, saying, this is what it would be. That's not evidence in response. What was required is...
Cosplay has entered the courtroom. Cosplay. He's cosplaying as Mello. Shut it, stop it.
Something from Mello under oath, and we've never gotten that. And that's very important too, Your Honor. One of the things that we asked for in the motion is, as an alternative, a hearing. Okay? If this was intentional, the court should factor that in. Now, how can the court make a finding whether this was intentional or not without hearing from Mello, Tully, Peter, anyone else who may or may not be involved in this?
How does this affect the grand jury presentation?
Oh, shut the...
Well, Peter...
I just want to see the argument. I'm not...
As far as the grand jury goes, it's either Tully or Peter who renamed these files. Now, Tully knew the full name of the files.
But according to Tully, he doesn't open it. So I'm just trying to... you may have a separate argument. I'm not saying you don't.
So then Kate Peter renamed them. If Tully says he didn't open it, and like, okay, take his word with a grain of salt. But if he didn't, then who did?
Okay, as to what the relationship between Mello and Peter was or was not. I'm just trying to make sure I understand your argument. Is this part of the Odell or is this some separate motion?
Well, on some level, it's a hybrid. I mean, there's clearly the Odell component.
But I can understand what that hybrid is,
Right.
Counsel.
You
give me kind of a mishmash here with all sorts of stuff in it, and I'm trying to sort it out.
Judge, there's a standalone Odell motion, clearly, about impairing the integrity of the grand jury proceeding. We also filed...
But how does... Go on, I'm listening.
There is a second motion to dismiss for extreme and egregious government misconduct based upon...
beats me a separate motion to dismiss based on what you filed, Mr. Bederow.
No, Judge, it's a second point.
This is the problem with what you filed, but we've discussed that already. I can't discern that this...
Oh, the shade. The shade. Let him cook. Let him cook. And then you can ask the questions. But I have a question. So the Odell filing is different than the mega motion. Duh. We know the mega motion. Attorney Melanie Little went over the mega motion. So did everyone else. That was extreme governmental misconduct.
The second motion to dismiss. It looks like a big Odell.
It doesn't.
Judge, we don't know what missing evidence we didn't get. And the argument that was put forth in Mr. Cosgrove's response to this was that if you don't know, then there's no obligation for us to turn it over because there's no reasonable possibility to conclude that it would be favorable to you. And the point is, when it's evidence that was deleted, that was reviewed by Mello, Tully claims he didn't, and it comes from a source who hates him and commits acts of fraud and forgery against him, there's a reasonable basis to believe that something wasn't right in that evidence. We don't know. And this woman was assisting these people back right before literally days before the grand jury, explaining to Mello how to use the evidence. What is that evidence? She sent a folder titled intent. That may we don't know, but that may very well be the clips, the change names. She'll probably deny it. She'll go online and deny it and scream and yell about it. Tully says, I never looked at it. Mello is unheard of. He's just disappeared in the wind. There's no sworn statement from him. These people at a minimum should be called in, take oaths, and let's get to the bottom of it.
Well, I really need a better motion than what I got in order to do that. But Mr. Cosgrove, what do you got to tell me?
Just go through it.
Start where you think is important.
Okay. First, whenever I hear counsel use the word cherry-picked, what that means to me is the Commonwealth picked relevant evidence to support the charges it was looking for. I don't have any.
First of all, thank you so much, Ascribe to Pandering, for the very generous super chat. This isn't just an attack on TB's First Amendment right. It is an attack on all of our rights. When we look away from injustice because we don't like the person, we become a part of the problem. Proud to be a Lovey. All of these other creators should take notes. Also, congrats. Well, babe, stop. Thank you so much. And for me, freedom of speech has always been surmised into, I don't fight for the people I agree with. I fight for people that I don't agree with. And I don't necessarily agree with every word that has ever been said out of each and every damn mouth. And I wouldn't say it. But I'll tell you one thing. You have the right to say it and utilize that freedom. There's a reason it's first. Thank you so much.
Any real answer? I don't deny that was what, in this case, Mr. Kearney said and did and put on the air.
No, why not give them the whole video?
I'm sorry?
Why not give them the whole video? To go to Mr. Bederow's point, why not give them the whole video to watch and play them selected clips as is often the case?
I don't know what the reasoning was at the time, Your Honor, but if you look at the chart that Mr. Bederow includes in his motion, or his affidavit rather, it runs on for about 3 pages. There's lots of videos. They tend to go about 2.5 hours each. If we give them the whole video, there is lots of other material in there that language used by Mr. Kearney, whatever. It could be construed as prejudicial. I'm sure Your Honor has already heard about reference to the O'Keefes. And the Commonwealth introduced this, and then they didn't indict him with respect to intimidation of the O'Keefes, and this was entirely inappropriate, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure if Mr. Mello had put in 25 whole videos, we'd be getting an argument that all kinds of prejudicial material was put in, and that the Commonwealth should have simply chosen what was relevant to the indictments.
No. Wrong answer. I deny that. Because you would have seen so much other information and other things that Aiden says. That's why it matters. You cherry picked and presented and indicted. That's not how the system works. It's not how it's supposed to work. And we found that a lot was happening in the dark when we weren't aware of it. And potentially, in my opinion, these charges were brought in order to silence the loudest voice who was fighting for justice for Officer John O'Keefe and to free Karen Reed.
I have to say, where's the beef? I keep hearing about stuff being taken out of context. And if only there was the context, if only the whole thing had been shown, defense.
Kazi, you're lost. I feel like he's lost. I almost feel bad. He's like, well, I just didn't know. And then today's Tuesday, right? Is it Tuesday? I'll gladly pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today. What?
Has had
Turtle Dove.
The defense has read my response, has said, Your Honor, and one of the things I said was, where is it? Where's the submission to the court? These are the things that if only the grand jury had viewed them, as Your Honor is now capable of viewing them because we have submitted them, and certainly Mr. Kearney has access to his own video, it would have put things in a completely different light, and here's why. You don't have any of that.
Figure it out.
There may be some things in the entire videos that
love this. Thank you so much. I don't like dumb people. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. FYI, Odell motion to dismiss the case for prosecution. Oh, it's the Odell one. Sorry. Intentionally misleading the grand jury, governmental misconduct. Congratulations. Hashtag Kim Tante.
Example, Mr. Bederow says.
Save the date, 2028.
At one point, Mr. Kearney talks about how he's going to expose corruption or something like that. Or Mr. Kearney could have 16 different motives. People have more than one reason for doing things, for putting something in. Some of those motives may be good motives. But those motives are irrelevant. All the Commonwealth has to prove is that one of his motives was to intimidate those witnesses. That's what's relevant. Furthermore, I think, as Your Honor alluded to, we can infer a certain degree of sophistication on the part of the grand jury. Nobody watches even the evening news and sees a snippet of a Trump press conference or something going on in the city of Boston or an excerpt from what's going on in court.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kazi Dove. Have you just, like, I don't know, did a compare and contrast of Aiden and President Trump? Oh, we only see clips. We only see clips of him telling North Korea, no nukes for you. Like, what? What?
And leaves under the delusion that other things weren't said, other things weren't happening. They understand that the news media selected what they considered relevant and showed that. In fact, I think that's what Mr. Kearney does on his own broadcasts. People are sophisticated based on years of watching news shows and years of, at this point, watching the internet. There's nothing to stop a member of the grand jury, and for each of these witnesses, grand jurors had an opportunity to ask questions. And if you've read the grand jury transcripts, you know they did ask questions, and they certainly could have said, you know, you're only showing us a snippet here. We'd like to see the whole video. Nobody
What were
did
the
that.
questions?
Are we going to put this on the grand jury to make sure?
What were the questions? What did the grand jury ask? Because that's very telling. Tell me the fucking questions. Did they ask maybe stuff about how many times this occurred? I want to know everything. It's not the grand jury's responsibility to present the evidence. They can ask for follow-ups, but it should have been presented by the Commonwealth.
So you got a square presentation?
No, I don't think we're putting it on the grand jury. I'm simply pointing out that in addition to the other points I've made, the opportunity was there.
Sorry, we gotta speed him up. We can't even 1.25.
Nothing was being concealed. I think the practicalities of presenting the grand jury with however many hours it would have been, 26, 46, however, these shows of Mr. Kearney's run about 2.5 hours, would be somewhat.
He's a fan.
absurd,
He just sent a
frankly.
super chat.
I think the Commonwealth's obligation was to show what was relevant, and that was what we did.
Okay. Tell me about the issue, your thoughts on the issue with Ms. Peters and Mr. Mello.
All right. With respect to Ms. Peters, I want to make a couple of points. One is...
okay, guys, sorry, but that was hilarious seeing Belazos. This is on 1.25. That was the 1.5. That was the longest blink known to mankind. He just closed his eyes, thought about, like, he left his body. He spun on the rings of Saturn. He's trying to listen to Causey IRL, especially appointed prosecutor Robert Cosgrove.
Mr. Bederow raises this issue of the prior federal court suit, which Ms. Peters apparently admitted to having forged a document or something of that nature. Well, Mr. Kearney would be aware of that because he was involved in it. But there is no reason why the best of prosecutors, when somebody comes to them with information, they may check out the information, which is what was done here.
Right.
People went and looked at the broadcasts that they were pointed to. Why they would go back
all I hear is
and screen for federal court cases to see if the witness had previously been involved in a federal court case, I don't know. It's not a search warrant where you're trying to establish the veracity of the informant. And
he says, JK, not my fault, not my monkeys, not my circus. We blame Mello in this house.
Conversation, and I believe Mr. Kearney was not in Norfolk County at the time either. So there was some thought that maybe, as I understand it, maybe that Mr. Mello would ask Mr. Morrissey to get himself appointed as a special prosecutor for Suffolk County for the purpose of seeking an indictment there and joining it. But it was never pursued. With that in mind, the Norfolk County grand jury just expired without anything further being done. So nobody ever went in front of the grand jury and said, this is withdrawn, but at the same time, no true bill was proposed to the grand jury relative to Mr. Campbell.
Just never asked for a vote.
Never asked for a vote.
Well, that's a problem.
No, I'm content to rest on my memorandum unless you're on his questions.
Mr. Bederow, I want to go back to this Peters thing, because I'm struggling to understand exactly what your basis on the Peters evidence is. Is it a loss of exculpatory evidence? Is it, I don't know, you tell me, because again, the motion comes in as an Odell McCarthy sort of, and then goes on for many paragraphs, but never really tells me much about why this is important. So is it an Odell, or is it a Commonwealth versus Willie loss of exculpatory evidence? I gotta know.
We don't know what Peter evidence ended up before the grand jury because nobody seems to have it. What I can tell the court is she provided a copy of a Scanlon alleged illegally wiretapped call,
which isn't part of this indictment.
No, but to get to the point where they just said on the Scanlon evidence, we just never asked for a vote. What they never did is what every prosecutor should have done, which is instruct the grand jury, disregard that. They didn't do that. I mean, that kind of just slipped by in that exchange that was just had. You put forth uncharged crimes of wiretapping and actually tell the grand jury this is punishable by up to 5 years in prison for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. You choose because you think there's no jurisdiction or not. What Mello was obligated to do as the legal advisor to the grand jury with a duty of fair dealing, not to be an advocate, but a fair and honest broker.
Do justice.
Was to tell the grand jury, you must not consider any of that. You should not consider that evidence. You should not.
Look at that. Do you see him? Let's be body language, specialists right now. He's thinking, he's looking up, he's rubbing his whiskers. I like that.
Consider any possible penalty. So where did that come from her? We don't know. We also know that she sent evidence to Tully and I believe also Mello saying, I have taken clips from videos which show his intent in a folder named intent. We don't know where that
came. Let me try to separate this out because I'm trying to understand your argument and be very fair to you, okay? It doesn't sound like there's any argument here there's a loss of exculpatory evidence. Correct. All right, so we can take that off the table, right?
No.
Is that a yes or no?
Yes.
All right, so I don't need to worry about that.
Oh.
So what I'm now left with is the argument
Lots.
that the information, the only information that we seem to have right now with regard to Peters is the Scanlon non-indictment, right?
No.
Does that seem about right?
And sending clips from videos in some folder named intent to Tully. That is
But we don't know that any of that got in front of a grand jury.
We do not know if that's literally what he used. Correct.
Right. So what we do know is that the Scanlon information got to the grand jury.
We believe so. I mean, I can't tell you if they took her version and found out.
But we know there was testimony about that or evidence about that.
There was testimony of that uncharged crime that
so
was
now
left there.
I'm really trying to hone down your argument, something I can get my hands around. All right.
That is wild, right? So in case anybody doesn't know, do you remember that Mello was like in a secret freaking hospital admission that he's like, do you know who I am? And he threatened to stab a nurse, quite literally. And then they've kept pushing this off and pushing this off. There were supposed to be like 3 or 4 different court dates. And nothing has come to fruition. You threatened the life of a nurse at a hospital. You're a special prosecutor, you're a government official. What the fuck is happening?
Now what we're left with is the question of whether or not the grand jury was, under Brown, tainted by the inclusion of that evidence. It's a high standard, really difficult, given Judge Doolin's findings already. Or whether or not Mello had an obligation to instruct the jury on the law about that now withdrawn or not pursued indictment. Does that summarize the argument?
It does, and Your Honor, I can't fathom a world in which a prosecutor...
I'm just trying to make sure I understand the argument. I don't need further argument on it. I'm just trying to figure out if that's the argument.
Of course, he should have instructed the grand jury to disregard prejudicial uncharged crimes, which could result in somebody going to prison. Yes.
But I still have to go back to the Brown issue, whether or not it affected the integrity of the grand jury.
It did.
You have to determine whether it affected the integrity and ultimately whether it mattered. And, in terms of, did it probably influence the grand jury, the Mayfield standard, something else the court should consider about whether any of this matters. In March of 2024, Mr. Mello took another shot at grand jury involving Mr. Carney and Karen Reed for essentially...
But not this grand jury.
No, but...
Right, then we don't need to go there.
Your Honor, if I can have 10 seconds of leeway, none of the misconduct occurred in that grand jury. And what happened? The same allegations, same type of evidence, and that case was no build.
That's a whole different ball of wax. That's
the point is, could it have influenced? We don't know.
I'm not going to guess about the grand jury presentment that I've never read, I've never seen, and involves a far different set of facts than this. All right? Whatever, I don't know the details of what happened.
No ball on that, no dice.
Mr. Kearney and Ms. Reed, I don't know, and frankly don't care. Okay? What I care about is this grand jury. Okay? In much of that communication back and forth, allegedly with Reed, allegedly between them, it's not before me. I'm not going to draw an inference from that. I can't. You know that.
I'm not asking you to. It's the same video.
You just did kind of...
No, Judge, I'm not talking about anything other than it was the same video evidence and Tully talking about the same things. And
I'm going to guess there was a whole lot more to that grand jury than these videos.
Not much.
Whatever. It's not what I'm not before.
Understood.
I'm not reviewing it. I don't have access to it. So I can't draw a conclusion as to whether or not how it compares. So that's, believe me, the last place I want to go down the road and figure out any interaction from your client.
I know this is frustrating, Lovies. Like, I get it, but it's very insightful. Every time we see a judge and we hear where he allows Mr. Bederow to cook and where he stops him, for example, with the no true bill regarding Karen Reed and Aiden and, 2024, right before trial 1, that's where we know that argument is going nowhere. The places in which Judge Belizos did allow the expansion of argument from Mr. Bederow, in my opinion, are probably the most strong points of the Odell of the governmental misconduct, realistically. So I think, listen, if anyone has a shot in hell, it's Mr. Bederow in getting this dismissed.
Karen Reed, that's got no part of this trial. All right, not fair to anybody. Okay, all right.
And Mr. Bradle,
anything else you want to tell me about this?
One other just response to something Mr. Cosgrove said when the court was asking him, why not just play or give the grand jury the opportunity, if they so choose, to have the videos. And the response was, well, they could have asked. I
didn't put a lot of stock in that, so I wouldn't spend any time on that.
Whatever they don't know. And the last point, Your Honor, is why rename the videos? Why say it comes from the intent? Why offer the opinions? It's to put their finger on the scale and to say, we believe he did it. You should believe he did it. And that's improper for a prosecutor to do as a legal advisor to a grand jury.
Fair enough. All right, I'll take it under advisement. I'll make 2 quick points. Sure. Yep.
I just want to point out that from the Commonwealth perspective, the whole Scanlon argument is waived because they had the grand jury minutes at the time that they brought the last motion, including...
The Scanlon argument is limited to the idea that they should have instructed.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The second point I want to make is the argument that they don't know what information came from Ms. Peters. I guess my response is, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she has an animus against Mr. Kearney.
It kind of does, though. What's her motivation to provide? She is not actually someone who should be working with the government. And if she is, it should be disclosed prior to 2025. Just saying. Also, the other note here is the reason that the Scanlon stuff is so scandalous is because that would be considered like a prior bad act, a non-verifiable, non-prosecuted, felonious prior bad act that you put in a lump of bullshit and said Aiden is the problem, Aiden bad, let's weaponize laws against him that have not been utilized in this Commonwealth of Massachusetts in hundreds of years. Name another case that a journalist has had witness intimidation charges and has received 18 counts. No one, never, didn't happen. Telling me that there's not any more assholes in the Commonwealth. I don't know.
The two of them are oil and water. Doesn't matter if the Commonwealth got those videos from Jack the Ripper or whether the Commonwealth got them from St. Teresa. The question is the video evidence authentic? And it is.
Okay. All right. Enough on that. Next issue. Do we have the third party here?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. From the defense, I didn't get a response or an opposition. Is there a response or opposition?
No opposition, Your Honor.
So you're fine with releasing these matters?
Judge, we're, from our perspective, this is all out in the possession of the internet, if you will, and it seems like everybody has it and can look at it except Mr. Kearney, but that's another issue for another day.
Well, we returned it to him. Did we not? That was the order that
I know. We're gonna go off. Okay, hold on.
Just saying, say it louder for the people in the back. Oh, Jesus Christ. EMR6WU. Is everyone doing weird shit with their... Why are these usernames so letter friendly? I feel like it's a password that is being made by Google for your actual handles. Love your faces, though. Journalism and freedom of speech is not a popularity contest. By nature, journalism is annoying. In order to find the truth, in order to get answers, you have to ask questions that make people uncomfortable. Because guess what, babes? Telling the truth, for some that are not doing the right thing, doesn't come easy. So you have to keep asking, you have to keep digging, you have to keep pushing, and you have that right too. No true threats, no fighting words.
Yes, Your Honor, but it's there's also...
Okay, just a sec.
Okay, whoever's on the video, you need to shut down.
I was wondering if you could shut the fuck up.
I muted the judge. And further, Your Honor, Mr. Kearney provided Attorney Diller with all these communications.
So this is not an issue? Because my intent, frankly, my first impression here is I want to protect Mr. Kearney's rights not to have these materials, investigatory materials released. But if you're okay with it, I'm not going to stand in your way.
I appreciate that, and if you're inclined to do that, I certainly would ask you to do it.
Well, you didn't. That's why I asked you if you opposed it, and you said no. So,
but if that's your inclination, or any layer of protection, we appreciate. But unfortunately, this is out on the internet. Number one, he's given it to Mr. Diller as a pro se, non-party deponent.
So, what do you need it from Mr. Diller? Why do you need it from me if you already have it?
I don't know that I have it. I know that I just got a link from Mr. Kearney a couple days ago because I went into our case and also got a motion to compel, which was allowed. So I'm entitled to at least compare the two.
No.
To see whether they are consistent and that it's comprehensive. I appreciate.
Why isn't this before Judge Gilday?
Billy did it.
It was before Judge Gilday, and he issued an order. There's a separate issue, which is we've executed.
I can't stand it. Sorry, guys. Now, tuck and roll. Where am I going here? Okay, now this is when Mike's face comes, and then listen to me. We're going to 202. And listen, calm down. Before you take a breath, look at me. We're together. Everything is going to be okay. We're listening to 6 minutes, and we have things to say.
And so we'll see what happens. And I'm trying to be as fair as I can to everybody on all sides of this, because I feel like sometimes our emotion and we get dug in, and there is a cult aspect. I feel like that, and sometimes I'll take it back to you. Turtle Boy, I call a cult. We see this even with Scientology. A lot of times the ex-cult members end up creating a new cult. Do you get worried about that? That's one of the things the anti-Karen Reed people come at me. They want me to become anti-Karen Reed. And I say, how do you know I'm not going to join a new cult if I do that?
The cult of Crawford and Brian. Wonderful.
And I just, I'm saying it facetiously, but there is an angle. People do call you almost like a Turtle Boy cult yourself. What do you think about that? And do you think about that? Like, am I becoming this guy too much? Because I worry about that. Am I becoming too much like the asshole?
Whoa. I like you for asking that question. I think it's very odd and off-putting that you asked Kate Peter if you're becoming the asshole, Mike. Giddy up. Jesus Christ, jellyfish. Come on, my guy. Figure it out. You've been doing this long enough. One, why is your mic so hot? You've been in radio and you know what you're doing. You've done this for like 1 billion years. You're so loud. You sound crazy. Number two, you are definitely the asshole.
You think, I understand about myself that I don't have the influence to start a cult.
Good point.
You think that about yourself that you would? No, I don't. I look at. I don't even. I prefer to call us pro Keef if we're going to have a little, point. But there's not a lot of organization behind.
She has a little bit of a pun. Pro Keef.
Behind it, I think that's abundantly clear. We don't really have people that emerge as leaders and those who don't. There's not a lot of agenda in that.
Well, what does that say? Even if you were building any kind of community, usually you do have people that rise to the top. And Kate, you would, in theory, be a top, and Mike Crawford would be a bottom.
I do find that some people on the prosecution side of things, when they see people question Aiden, which I think is a reasonable thing to do, immediately jump on that and want to change people's minds about Karen. I don't subscribe to that. I really don't care. I don't like the bitch. I know that she erratically backed up her vehicle at the same time that her boyfriend's phone stopped moving. And I find that to be a lot harder to answer than how people could drive.
Too much. I'm going to just go here. Was it here?
Am I the only one who can't hear Crawford? I can't hear you.
Oh, now he's muted.
Any questions I want to ask you today, Kate? Let's see if the chat has any questions. Let's ask this one. This is an easy one. Kate, what's your channel?
Oh, no.
On YouTube. You have a channel. You don't post that much, but
was it 203? Where was it?
I do find that some people on the prosecution side of things, when they see people question Aiden, which I think or the world, okay? Like, that was ridiculous. And I think that later on in an affidavit, they cleared that up. And I want to say the guy's name is Keith, maybe Palagiris, body cam footage of his arrest. And they hear on the after when we knew it, right? Karen wasn't some sort of, accused like serial killers. They're not arguing that in his, in his scope, but who's going to open up all the cases, especially from early on, involving poor people and minorities? That's what I would be concerned about. And so I put in a request. No, I think that people need to, moving forward, especially if they follow the witness intimidation case, which is undoubtedly going to trial, start to pick apart a little bit more what is actually being argued by TurtleBoys counsel here, like what the arguments are that they're actually making.
I listened.
Because right now they went up and screamed Peter, well, my last name this time, but Peter, every single time, Kate Peter. But what they're not arguing is that I falsified any clips or did anything deceptive. They're not even really arguing that the Steve Scanlon call was not authentic, because everybody knows that it is. They're not arguing that.
Bitch. This is it. Now I want you all to absolutely. Does anyone have pearls? Get ready to clutch, clench, and kegel. Listen to what fucking Kate says about the Steve Scanlon audio.
The Lindsay Gaetani wiretap that I got was inauthentic because it wasn't inauthentic. He did edit it. You know that he did. That's what you interpreted as a threat from me, but that was just simply me. Again, like the truth is only a threat if you're lying. Just to be
okay. So she says that the Scanlon, nobody's even saying that it's not real. Okay, don't care. Then look at Mike as she goes to the Lindsay Gaetani audio. And I forgot. How in the world did my elephant brain forget that there was an encounter between Kate Peter and Mike Crawford regarding Lindsay Gaetani's audio from the night of the incident?
Clear, right? Because you knew the deal with that, and I knew the deal with that, and so I called you out about it. I'm sorry if you felt threatened. It wasn't a threat, but it was the truth, right? And so, I mean, in these arguments where I get constantly disparaged and called a liar and this and that, it's not that I'm lying. I'm being quite honest, and all of the people involved know behind the scenes that what I am saying is true. It's just simply that the truth is inconvenient to Turtle Boy, right? The same goes for all these terrible intent arguments that he's going to make. He told people over and over and over again what his intent was. And regardless of how you feel about the Alberts and the McCabe's, right, that's not the issue at hand before the jury. It's his behavior, not what you believe to be the contents of their character, right? And so regardless of what kind of people these victims may or may not be, it is not lawful, appropriate, or...
I just want you all to remember, I want you to turn back the hands of time to September or October or November, and the self-righteous fucking nature of specific individuals talking down and telling me or telling anybody that we were the biggest pieces of shit that ever lived. I want you to remember that. When you know that Mikey C, you're the OG. Huh. That is wild that you had such self-righteous fucking indignation. And you fucking put it out, Mike. Like, I just don't understand where people are so hypocritical and like want mobs and want the mentality and want people to just fucking destroy others. When you like what the fuck? You quite literally were leading like a brigade of dickheads to be like, you know, they are so bad. They are so bad. And I can understand like from a moral or ethical, but how fucking dare you, you know, he who is not in a glass house, throw the first stone. You could have maybe sat that one out and not led the brigade, like had the pitchforks. I'm glad Kate at least said something to you about it.
Something that we should accept, to exert pressure on witnesses outside of the justice system to try to get the outcome that you want. You wouldn't be okay with it if it was your sister, mother, or brother being subjected to that behavior. And I just think people should remember that that is the question for the jury, not all this extra noise.
Like, I mean, that's the problem for Bederow and Bradel, you know. I did turn my mic down. Hopefully it's fine now. Thanks for letting me know. There's a couple people like think I've turned on Karen Reed in here today. They're mad. I lost the comment, but they think that I'm saying Karen Reed is guilty. Did I say that today? Did you hear that, Kate? Did you feel like I wasn't supporting Karen Reed?
I feel like we haven't discussed her really at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. That's the thing, is that you might not say it, but like, where is there like an adversarial tone or asking real difficult questions of somebody? Like, yes, we should be able to have discourse. We should be able to speak to people. It shouldn't be like we should have debate and be able to say our points, get it across, articulate ourselves, and then move the fuck on. Absolutely. But with a shit-eating grin on your face and a smile, that's looking like friendly territory, not somebody who is there down to business and just trying to like get to the point or the facts after she was such a big part of today's hearing. Ask the questions, Mike. Show the fuck up.
I'm certainly not trying
opinion.
to force you or even encourage you to subscribe to my beliefs.
I mean, it's funny. Whatever. I raised a lot of money for Karen Reed. So, you know, money talks, people. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Wait a minute. No. I live on another planet. I didn't hear this part. Okay, facts matter journalism. There is footage. I don't know where the footage lives, but I know for sure that Mike Crawford has said that he felt inspired by me and Jimmy to start doing fundraisers. Money talks? Because I was told I was bullshit and I was walking. Right? What has changed? Stand on it. Like if you're going to say something, if you're going to be about it, and you feel that way, if you feel deeply that way, if you were like, Kim, you're a fucking scumball. Okay. But then you turn around and say, oops, well, wiretaps are us. And also, I raised a lot of money. So did I. So I'm not you're better. I don't know why it had to always go to such a weird place.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we mostly got out what we wanted to. I'm going to leave it to the chat right now. A lot of you have had questions. I haven't been watching everything because I'm trying to focus on Kate and not screwing up this interview today. But if you have any questions for Kate right now, for her, repost them in the chat. This is your opportunity. Don't expect me to scroll through 10,000 comments to find it. Post it now. Reshare it right now, and I will post it up there. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. And one person said, all I care about is the money and the clicks. Money and clicks are nice. I'm not denying it. But at the same time, you know what's even better? Sleeping well at night. And feeling like you were fair to people. That's.
I'm gonna ask Tiny Jesus in the Boom, also Tiny Punch the Monkey, and his mama orangutan. Don't know where she actually is. She did leap from the boom earlier today. You called us grifters. You said that we were grifters. We didn't care about anything but likes and clicks when there was like a huge divide. And instead of like finding common ground or any kind of olive branch or something that we could find a way to repair, you just said that we were pieces of shit and we were grifters. Non-consensual teams were formed and we were grifters. We were the worst. Whatever. And as long as you can sleep at night and that you're fair to people, that's a hard one. That's a hard one to understand because like the last time I think that Mike ever even reached out to me, he sent me like a whack ass DM and then he blocked me and I don't have his phone number. So I've never had his phone number, so I couldn't call him. And it was because I was sticking up for Mr. Bederow. I didn't like that he was having comments. And I said that you don't mean that because you respect Mr. Bederow. No matter what, you respect him. And Mike, I think, was in his feelings. And like everybody's allowed to do that, but this is very different. And that's why sometimes it's hard to like get a read on certain people when you can go from not being like, you can be real tough and you can say that you don't give a shit and we all can just walk off a short pier but now you're being fair and kind. But you do love those clicks and likes, though. Well, that's Jesus. My God.
Kate, do you think I ambushed you tonight, or do you feel like I was fair, or do you think I was too easy on you? What do you think?
I mean, I invited an ambush, actually, is sort of what I saw. I think you were a little bit too easy, but
I'm too easy. See, I am. If
Dear Lord, we are gathered here today to ask why. Why, Lord? Would Mike ask that question when he knows that he only asks soft balls? Because he's the softest of balls. And, like, why wouldn't you have just hammered that home? Ask questions, get answers, break stories. You could have broke something here. You had an opportunity. Did you give information to the DA's office? What did you do? Were you the one who renamed the file? Hello? Because not for nothing, we know Kate's going to say it online. You could have had it the first interview, Mike. But she was easy. Okay, where is the thing that Kate said that it was a funny quote? I just wanted to say it. God, now I've went too far here. I think it was supposed to be at 202 or 2.
I'm just the messenger in that sense, right? You know, if anyone should be upset with anyone, perhaps. Well, see, even that, you know, I would say be upset with Turtle Boy for being so.
No,
because I'm not somebody that goes through the I don't know what's that. What psychology? A lot
reasonable thing to do. Immediately jump on that and want to change people's minds. Reason to. Carney does, right? Feel the same way, which is the main motivation.
Sorry, guys.
also feel the same way about the way that he's treated on it, but the kids bus stop.
Think about me, but also be on the level of performing surveillance for the Massachusetts.
Sorry, this is funny. This
Masshole Mafia.
Get it.
And this is a question I want to ask you. Snoozy Susie, this is a turtle rider. She says, ask Kate how she stalked his kid's bus stop to get arrested in front of them. Were you stalking his bus stop? Because there was a woman named Kate there. I don't think it was you.
Hilarious.
I at first thought it might be you.
So this is what I mean, like peak cult delusion. Okay, like you can't have it both ways, guys. I can't be this welfare receiving, trash bag, uneducated, useless piece of shit, crackhead or whatever.
I can't be this welfare, trash bag, uneducated, useless piece of shit, crackhead. Oh, I wrote it down.
To think about me, but also be on the level of performing surveillance for the Massachusetts State Police. Those two things are not congruent, okay?
While being on the level of performing surveillance for Mass State Police, those two things are not congruent. Big word central. Listen, I'm going to tell you this, and then we're done. Let me get rid of it because it's jarring. Get rid of it. Stop sharing. Okay, I'm home. Kate Peter has never been an uneducated, useless piece of shit. Like, in my opinion, she's smart. In my opinion, she's cunning. In my opinion, she's dangerous. I don't know. Kate Peter is as an enemy. I mean, think about it, guys. She used to write all of her writing, all of her everything that she did when she was working with Turtle Boy, now she has turned against Turtle Boy, and that she has quite literally made it a lot of what she is that. And I don't think of that as a welfare trash bag, uneducated, useless piece of shit, crackhead. Duh. I think of that. I think that she is like a scrappy little animal that is put up against a wall, and she'll find her way out by any means. And those are people that you should be on alert of. I don't think there's anything stupid about her, in my opinion. Just saying. Just saying. Okay, that's it. At all cost, she's a scrappy nobody who has too much free time on her hands and fucked priorities, but not dumb. I've never thought she's dumb. You can't think she's dumb, right? I don't know. She's no Jimothy. She is no Jimothy. But only, and I'm not going to say that because that would come off wild. So I won't say it, but I'm just saying, like, only the strong survive, or at the apocalypse, like, your blood type is the correct. And I swear she is one or the other. I don't find there to be anything dumb. I find her very calculated. And persuasive for some. And I could see how they may flock. And listen, she'll take them all in too. But the real big thing is that Kate can't manage it all. And you don't have, like, for the antis, because there was never really a group of very educated people. And I don't mean that like negatively. I don't mean like college educated or anything like that. I mean like street smarts, common sense. Hello, Officer John O'Keefe wasn't struck by a vehicle. That kind of common sense. And the only reason that, in my opinion, Kate Peter said that Karen Reed did it is because Turtle Boy said she didn't. That was it. And I think that she has doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and will die on the hill because Aiden said the opposite. That's my opinion. I think that there are certain players, i.e. the Julie Carpenters, the forensic ladies, all the things, like that they may believe it, but I've also heard them speak, and you can be like, yeah, that, okay, that you're kind of going in circles on this one, ma'am, but you believe what you believe. And I've never seen anything that I can't find a base level of respect or a fact with people. And I haven't in this case. People on the other side will just fuck with you and go to the lowest of blows because they can't have a conversation. And that's sad. It's a lost art. I think that everyone should be able to talk about it. And like, then everyone do likes and views, click or do something that shows like who won. All right. Do a fucking poll at the end of who won this debate, anti versus free Karen Reed. That would be something. I call the medical night. Vengeance. Yeah. Okay. All right. Clancy, day one. They are in jury selection. I guess this trial is supposed to be allegedly between 6 and 8 weeks long. I see it on the shorter side because although there is a ton of medical information and medical history that they are going to need to get through, the witness list and everything, as long as they keep on schedule and they don't do like mother's hours for court, I think it could actually be done in 6. I am going to do recaps every night. I know that Attorney Melanie Little is going to be doing recaps every night. I don't think she's doing the actual trial. And I know that Jess is going to be there IRL. She's going to be reporting from the courtroom with her tweets, which was incredible when she did that at Karen Reed's trial. And you know that. And also during Kelsey's. Who else? Yeah, like just business as usual. if we want, I can do, I think I just went too long tonight on talking on all this stuff, but it was important in my opinion, or it was important to me and I wanted to talk about it. If we wanted to, before opening statements, we could go through all of the medical stuff one more time, babes, together, that we could break down what was the order of operations, how Lindsay had sought help, what would the results were from each of those providers and inpatient and outpatient programs, and where she ended up in the days leading up to the tragic events of January 2023. There is no soft landing on this. There is no denial that Lindsay Clancy unalived her 3 beautiful children. And it's going to have to be a cerebral, we're going to have to keep it in our heads and less with our hearts when it comes to the responsibility and what that means, what that looks like. And was there a reason for not being in the right state of mind and of insanity? Is that going to be able to be proven? Is a postpartum psychosis, which is very real, very life-threatening, is that what was at play? Or was this a calculation? I got to tell you, by what I have seen in the court documents, what I have seen in the lawsuit by Patrick, her husband, is significant negligence of medical providers at both Mass General Hospital and outpatient practices that resulted in the most devastating negative outcome that could have possibly happened. Now, tell me what you think she looks like here, okay? Because this was different for me. Hold on, I wanted to pull these pictures up because it was her and Mr. Reddington in court. And then I'm going to bid you adieu because you're like, God, bitch, stop talking, Kim. Ew. Okay. Let me share this. Bear with me. Share it. Sharing. Share. Okay. Sorry. So I want you to see this. And this photo is taken at Tewksbury State Hospital. This photo is upon, wait, what's the date? Shit, Kim, I know this. Last live, when was Osh? Oh no. Emerges, no, last minute, shit. I don't know exactly when it was. I think it was 2024 is what I want to say. But when you look at vacancy, or when you can look and see a blank stare, you're seeing her and you're seeing that she's almost looking through you, right? You're alert, you're flat affect. I wonder if she would follow you if you were moving in a room. Would she do that? I don't know. I wonder what her speech patterns were. We'll know all of this. Doctors will tell us. Psychiatric providers will tell us. Was her thought process linear? Was it grandiose? Did she have, auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations? Any additional SI? What was going on? We're going to find out all of that. But I look at this human being and I see somebody who is unwell, quite literally unwell. And then I see, oh, do. Come on, Kim. Where you at? Okay. Here was today. Oh. Do you see a difference? Do you see a difference? Now, this is during jury selection. I mean, this is a whole different lady. This is a positive thing and a negative thing for Lindsay, because you want to look, I don't know, I guess like they would say if you were doing expert jury consults, right? They would say like you want to be dressed appropriately. You don't want to be overtly dressed. You want to have not a lot of makeup on, but you don't want to look homely. It's so fucked up for women because like there's a specific like area that women feel comfortable with how you look and that men feel comfortable with how you look. And if you're out of that parameter, you're fucked. And like, oh, she's a mother. She wouldn't have done it. She didn't mean to. It's very weird, but you're like, juries do make a lot of judgments based on like what they see, what they believe, what your lying eyes tell you. That's what you believe. I think that this individual that I see in these pictures from today looks much healthier, whether that is her medication regimen, whether that is, you know, improvement in her mobility. And, you know, I don't know what progress she's made medically, but it's like very different. It's neat. It's appropriately dressed. It's a proper hygiene. She's looking up at Mr. Reddington, I believe. And it's like, did you come home? Are you here? Are you with us now? And in the best possible way, like you want her to get better. And at the same time, is that also somehow a fate worse than death? Is her getting better and not having her like, and never having her babies or seeing her babies again because of a time in which she reached out for help and was not afforded that help. And then she snapped. And it can happen in less than a couple of minutes. All of it can happen in less than a couple of minutes, guys. 90 seconds for psychosis. And it's life-threatening. It's dangerous. Result in homicidal, suicidal ideation and plans. Actions. Resulting in life-altering things. Oh, different lighting. Yeah, different lighting too. Yes. Okay, from different lighting too, let's watch another court example, right? Like, let me just look at this. I think just in my opinion, Rhonda, this is still scary. This is still, I'm not doing well. To me. This is still flat, blunted. Disassociating, possibly. I don't know. I don't know what her thought process is. But like, it just looks disconnected. And I feel like she looks connected. Better color in this one. This is like progression. We're on our progression. But today's photos for me was like a whole new ball game. It did. It did. The age of nefarious Tish says the system failed her catastrophically. It's just like here's the thing, babes. If you don't have support, if you're, and I'm not saying, but I am saying, typically mothers, and I know that there are exceptions to the rules. I'm doing a broad stroke here, so don't come for me. But if you are a woman of a certain socioeconomic class with assistance and help from a loving husband, like you're not a single parent, you have help from both of your families, you are a professional, you're an educated college professional or a college educated professional, a maternity nurse, you are aware of the signs and symptoms, you note that you're feeling them, you're documenting it, you seek help for months. You try every available avenue from crisis to emergency room, to outpatient, to inpatient, to signing in a Section 12 voluntarily at McLean's on New Year's. You think you want to do that? Nope, that's just all my diabolical plot because I would like to end up not with these children that I wanted and that I love. But I was sick. And I asked for help and I couldn't get it. I don't know. I don't know. This is this one is so hard. And I feel, because I don't want to ever be disrespectful to the lives of Cora, Dawson, and Callum. And like, should you pay a price for what happened while still being like, you did everything? What could someone have done differently? There was diagnoses. There was documented assistance requests. You have a husband that is very different than in most maternal child fatalities, right? Family annihilators, is that she has the support of Patrick. Her husband is like, my wife wouldn't do, like, my wife was sick. So this one has, since day one, been so challenging. And I don't like to cover, I can't do it. After Harmony Montgomery, I was like, I was sick. But I feel like the bigger purpose, or what this could provide for like mothers to prevent this from happening again, could change the outcome and trajectory of families for our Commonwealth and for the United States. I feel like it's such a big case. I feel like it's going to be a sentinel case. I feel like it will be case law regarding this. And postpartum depression, anxiety, psychosis, knows no socioeconomic class, no race. I mean, no race, no religion. It can affect us all. It's physiological. And there's no shame that should be attached, but there is still a stigma. So hopefully we can help break the stigma by talking about it and by not being afraid to go further than what's comfortable, because it's very uncomfortable. But that's how we can do it together. Yes. And Glow is Me says, I can definitely see the difference in her affect and presentation. Yeah. Okay. All right, listen to me. You're the best to ever do it. I want you to have a good night. It's Monday night. Shall we talk shit Tuesday? I don't know. But if we're up for it, let's go. Okay. Green means go, bitch. We're just doing it all. And if there's nothing and you say, no, we'll hear from you on Thursday, then that's fine too. Okay. All right. And to Rocket Chick 71, thank you for sending 10 gems and a floating heart. Somebody sent me a fingering heart earlier, and my heart has been fingered. Rachella 4509, 10 gems, floating heart. Thank you so much, babe. And to Kerm 366, thank you for becoming a consensual member at Nurse Kim's home. And Betsy Starry says 200 gems of sunshine. I got a pocket full of sunshine. Oh, yes. And thank you so much again to subscribe to Pandering. I am beyond thankful for you. And also to I Don't Like Dumb People. Thank you so much, babe. And to Kelly, just son of a bitch. Kelly, you changed your handle from Bustin' Justin's Fridge Acid. Well, first, actually, Kelly was Chloe Bit, so we must have quit. And then she went, I'll never get this one. It'll be 2 years, and I'll be like, I just got Kazi cosplay. I love it. Thank you so much, babe. And to subscribe to Pandering, thank you again, babe. Says, I don't know, Kimmy doll. I've never seen Trump and TB in the same room. Kazi could be on to something. Must get his investigative skills from MSP. Geez, the comparison that was heard around the world. And also Kim's CNMT has hit me with 400 gems and an eagle. Fly, eagle, fly. Subscribe to Pandering. Stop it. You're spoiling me. I am a spoiled person. Those who aren't secure in their own convictions often trade courage for acceptance, choosing the comfort of the crowd over standing on their own principles. Yup. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, babe. And thank you so much also. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for gifting 20 non-consensual Nurse Kim memberships to people who want no part of it. They say, bitch, why are we even here? This is the most unhinged place on YouTube. Yeah, but we do it. We show up. And to Mermaid Mary RN, who has been a member at Nurse Kim's house for 1 month consensually. Hey, Kim, see Defense Diaries stream RE Lindsay. Will do. Thank you, Mermaid Mary RN. I love all of you. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Have a good night. Bye, guys.
What's gotten into the people in the world today? Common sense of man is pushed out of the way. No one's filtering the wild shit they say. Don't seem to have to read, so why you're so cray-cray? You're not my friend, not my fam, not on my level, not my jam. You're the goddamn devil, I don't give a damn. When you drive through Salem, they scream, burn that witch. So shut all the way the fuck up, you dumb bitch. Please God, dear Lord, tell them to sign offline and hop on to all the good dick that you can find. Let everyone get dick down consensually. Go get you some instead of worrying about me. Everybody should be worshipped centrally. Hopefully you realize eventually. Get out of my face, get out of my chat. You're an ostrich, bitch, what you think about that? Why you all way up inside my grill today? I don't think you have Tourette's, so why are you talking cray cray? You're not my friend, not my fam, not on my level, not my jam. You goddamn devil, I don't give a damn. When you're driving through Salem, they scream, burn the witch. Shut all the way the fuck up, you dumb bitch. Get out of my face, get out of my chat. You're an ostrich, bitch, what you think about that? Nurse Kim will preach it, Jimmy will teach it, other Mary B and me will art it. Last at least young jerks will fart it. This was adapted from a non-ironic valid truth, Kimmy. It's my homework for Jimmy. Shout out to Tish, Kylie, and the other Mary B. Shout out to Zach, Mo, Esk, Nicola, and Queen Valerie. Shout out to Miss Jess, Emily C, and MC Kazi G. Shout out to Ray from Dallas, Fervent, Jess, Glera, OBN TV.